Hi, I want to welcome you to our computer science CSC142 online course. I just want to go over a couple of things to help you get started. For starters, this is an asynchronous class, so we don't meet in person. When you first log into the course, this is what you'll see as our homepage. Um, Beginning of next week, I'll change this homepage to uh, the module page so that we don't need to see this intro stuff every time. Um, Again, we don't have any required meeting times. All of the instructional materials are in Canvas, and I'm going to go over that stuff for you right now. We do have optional weekly student study hours, and those hours are posted on Canvas. I have both in-person and Zoom options. Um, and that's where you can get additional help, especially early on if you're struggling with setting up Java and Eclipse on your computers. Of course, we do have due dates, so it's important that you stay current with the material. Doing the welcome video here, and that'll post there. And then it asks you to go to the modules and look at the getting started module. So I'm going to do that here. Go to my course module page. Oops. So again, my name is Tutangi. I like to go by my last name, Tutangi. You can also, if you're typing, type JT. That's easier to type. Again, the modules will be our homepage starting in week 2. There's a getting started module, which is where you'll get started. There's a reference materials module and a projects module. And then those are followed by each of the chapter modules. We have 8 chapters. And within each chapter module, we have instructional materials that are going to consist of PowerPoints that cover the material for each chapter, video lectures that I've made where you're going to want to watch and code along with them. I'll go over that. And then also reviewing the textbook as needed. There's also assignments within those chapter modules. I have suggested chapter problems and occasional quizzes and coding assignments that you'll submit. The chapter problems we don't submit, but it's really important that you do that work and come to me if you have questions on it. And then there's some additional materials within those modules. There's PowerPoints that model the textbook. You might find those easier than reading through the textbook. I would strongly suggest we do the lecture PowerPoints first, and then if you want to use the chapter PowerPoints from the textbook as additional content. And then we have several exam modules. Each one consists of a sample exam, and then in this course we have 2 in-person exams and an optional in-person final exam. All of that is in person. Okay, so going over to Canvas, right now the homepage again is this welcome letter, but that'll switch over to the modules next week. Clicking on the modules, opening the getting started. Within this textbook, applications and hardware needed is the instructions to downloading Eclipse and Java, and you'll want to download those and install them. Some information about getting in touch with me, student study hours, technical support on Canvas, or if you're having an issue with a laptop, if you're having an issue with Java or Eclipse installation, we want to get those resolved in the first couple of days. You can come to study hours, you can come to campus. We need to get that stuff figured out quickly. Okay. And then we got a reference materials module. I have a page that consists of all of the course video lectures, so by chapter. So if you ever need to go back and find something, they're all there in that reference module, course video lectures. I also have all the course PowerPoints, and again, our student study hours. We have a module that will contain our projects 1 through 4. And then we have chapter modules. So within the chapter module, there's a PowerPoint lecture. Just going to open that up. It's a lecture. I strongly suggest you download these things. If you view them through Canvas, it chops them off strangely. Sometimes they're hard to see. Sometimes they're hard to navigate. So I find it much easier to download them. You do not want to go over these things on a phone. I would strongly suggest you go through these PowerPoints on a computer or maybe a large tablet. Phones are just too small to actually see this. And one suggestion I have is that whenever you run across code within the PowerPoint, is just do that coding. It's really good practice. Same thing in the book. when you run across code. If you do that coding, it will help you learn and get practice coding. A lot of us will need more practice coding, especially if your typing skills are not as strong as you'd like them to be. Okay, so there's a chapter of PowerPoint. Again, I would download those and then look at them through PowerPoint, followed by video lectures. So the video lectures, they don't do you much good if you don't do the work with them. So this is what we do in class. I'll do some coding in class. Students will code along with me. It's exactly what these are set up to be done, how these are set up to be done. It says open the video in a new window and resize it to have both the clips and the video playing. There's usually a set of the video where I'm handwriting stuff, and that's where you would be taking notes in your notes. Oftentimes you don't want to write those problems down. The actual work, the logic of computer science is usually happening pencil and paper. And then the coding and the syntax is what we're using to implement that logic and those problems that we've already solved. So we want our focus to be on pencil and paper. And then the syntax and the coding is the implementation of that. So real quick, I'll show you what that video looks like. Here's a video that I've made, me with long hair. And I have an Eclipse window open here and I'm doing some coding with it. So as I'm coding, you will want to have that window open along with Eclipse. I'm going to open beside it. That's not it. There it is. I'm going to open my Eclipse, and I just want to show everyone. I think I do this in the basics video as well. I'll show you here as well. I've downloaded an open Eclipse, and it started a workspace. But I generally like to have a workspace that I'm comfortable with and know where it is. So I have a file set up on my desktop called Java 2026, and I'm going to change my workspace here. So switch to workspace in the file menu, and I'm just going to say other, and I'm going to tell it. I'm going to browse, and I'm going to tell it my workspace is on my desktop, and it's this Java 2026 folder. Select it, and then I'm going to launch it. And then when it launches, I have an option to make it my default workspace, and then all my code will go in there. I don't have to spend time trying to find stuff. So as that's launching, you can see the video over here. Parts of the video are on pencil and paper. So like this part is what you would be writing down, paper and pencil, the problem, and then what is the solution that we're going to use. As we get into Eclipse, go back to Eclipse here. This is a tutorial. We can just close it, the welcome menu, and just close it. Also, there's all these other windows open. We don't really need the task list. I'm just going to close it. We don't need the outline. I'm going to close it. It gives me a little more room to have my Eclipse here beside my coding in the video. And then I'm going to make it a little bit less wide so that we can see the video a little better. And then when we do any new Java thing, we're going to do a new Java project. And I usually would do these by chapter. So you just do like chapter 1. I think we can just hit the defaults here. Should be fine. And we'll just hit finish. And it wants a module. Oh, I didn't really want a module. Don't create the module. There's an option in there to not create modules. I would not use the modules. And then within here, there's a source code folder, and you can just do file, new Java class. And that would be whatever the name of this is. So this would be capital C cube list, UBE list. And we usually want to tick this public static void main, at least for now. We don't have any inherited abstract methods. Public. If you're on a PC, it'll just go into the default and that'll be fine. Some Macintoshes require you to name a package here. You could call it P1, package 1. It depends on what operating system you're using on a Mac. And if you struggle with it, I can help you with that. Come to study hours. In any case, there it is. I'm going to open that cube list up. Here it is. Here's the video. So as the video is going, I would hit play and I'd come back over here and I would do the coding along with me in the video. This takes a little bit of practice to get used to, so you need to do it. Just watching the video doesn't help you. Going to the end of the video and coding, yeah, you'll have the code, but you'll miss all the reasoning behind the code. So really the best way to learn is to do the coding with me. If you're confident in what you're doing, you can speed me up. If you're having lots of syntax errors as you're going along, suppose I have a typo, then I have these little red X's. I would pause the video so you can figure out what the typo is and fix it. And then system.out, print line, and then my error went away. And then I would go back and hit play on the video again. You can also speed the video up. You can put closed captioning on here so you can hear me. Speeding it up, maybe it's here in settings, playback speed, slow it down, speed it up. I would also suggest definitely listening to the videos because that's where I'm talking about all the logic. Okay, so back to Canvas. Within each chapter, there's a set of videos. So chapter 1 has 4. This isn't that much time, 22 minutes, 23 minutes. I'd say that's one lecture. Watch them both on Monday. That gets you started. Tuesday or Wednesday, you could go through binary conversions, and then Thursday, go over the 2 things for star figures. Actually, that's not best. This is about 2 lectures total. So 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, or Monday and Wednesday. And then I'm guessing that we're starting chapter 2 right after that. So chapter 1 is pretty short. Back to our modules. So we've got the PowerPoint, the videos, a couple of assignments, additional material. That's the textbooks chapter, textbooks PowerPoint. And then you jump into the next chapter, PowerPoints, beginning projects, how to, a couple of information on how to find your Java files, and then chapter 2 videos, watching and coding. First 3 chapters plus 3G is graphics, and that makes up our exam 1. Next chapters 4 through 8 make up exam 2, but of course we need the material that came before that as well, so exam 2. And then our final exam is everything as well. We have in-person exams, 2 in-person exams, and an in-person final exam. The final exam is optional. If you're happy with your grade after your first 2 exams, you're good to go. Your final exam can replace your lowest exam score. So if you miss an exam, you have to take the final and that will replace it. We don't have any makeups, so those exams are scheduled in person and those dates are listed on Canvas. I think that's pretty much everything in terms of getting started. I'm just going to double check my behind here. Hang on. Technical difficulties. Yes. Yep. Pretty much got everything covered there. So definitely reach out if you have any questions. I usually offer some extra credit for coming to study hours in the first couple of weeks, just to introduce yourself and let me get to say hello, and you get to know where I am, and that way we can make sure that everyone's on the path to moving forward. Kind of something to be aware of in this class is we want to start off really strong. We don't want to wait a week or 2 and all of a sudden be like, oh, I don't understand anything. We want to be proactive. The concepts that we learned this quarter are very similar to those concepts that we learned in CSC110. A couple of things are different. Obviously instead of from Python, we're switching to Java, which has a little more syntactical rules. So the syntax is a little harder. And then we amp up the difficulty level a bit. So, well, quite a bit. So, if we did loops in 110, we're doing, right as soon as we start loops in this course, we're doing nested loops. We might have 2 or 3 nested loops. We do linear relationships a lot in that beginning chapter with the nested loops. So the content is similar conceptually, but different both syntactically and a little more difficult in terms of the level of difficulty that we're expecting. Okay, I think that's it. Good luck getting started, and definitely reach out if you have questions or if you have issues setting up Eclipse and Java. And again, good luck.